All right, so today I want to review perimeter and area. Okay, so let's see if I can hide this. All right, so let's remember that area is the inside measurement of a shape. Okay, so it could be like a patch of land, a plot of land, stay in this vicinity, stay in this section, the zone, region, those are all area. Okay, perimeter is the measurement of the outer edge of a shape. So it's the border, the edge. Think of a fence, the boundary. These are your boundary lines. Don't go beyond those boundary lines. The borderline, outline, trim. So if you're seeing these words, they're talking about the perimeter, okay? So let's look at some real life examples, okay? Area of a blanket, all right? People that want to create quilts would want to know how big do they want their blanket. So we're talking area. So it's length times width. And this is a great example of, I like to think area array. So area, we know arrays you have to multiply. Area you have to multiply, okay? And this, the squares kind of give you a good visual, all right? So in this picture, she has 4 square feet this way, and she has 5 square feet this way. So if we wanted to know how big, right, this blanket was, how much area it would it cover the whole bed? We want to know. We don't want to make it smaller. We would multiply. So to find area, you multiply length times width, okay? So 4 feet times 5 feet, and that would be 20 square feet, okay? Now, perimeter is the outer edge. So it's this yellow trim, okay? Remember, trim was one of our words. So you have to add all of the sides. A lot of times, when you're doing a problem, they may only give you 2 sides, okay? But this is a square, right? This is a square quilt. And if they're only giving you 2 sides, we can assume that it's a square. So we have to add all the sides. So that means, oops, I'm going to go back here. That means that if this is 4 feet, this is 4 feet, okay? This is 5 feet, this is 5 feet. So to get the perimeter of this, we would add all the sides. So 5 plus 5 is 10, right? Plus 4 is 14, plus another 4 is 18. So this would be 18 square feet, okay? Add all the sides. Don't forget all the sides, because you don't want just trim. Think about really, think about the actions that you're doing. Don't worry just about the, formula, but think about, okay, if I'm putting trim on this blanket and I only add the 4 plus the 5, I'm only going to have trim on this side and this side, right? That's not what we want. All right, so here's another, just an example that might, you'd be able to relate to. Area, we have a soccer field and a football field. So the area is all of the green. It's the playing area, okay? It's the section in which you play soccer or football. The perimeter is the outer edge. It's the footsteps around, okay? Look, these footsteps are going in the wrong direction. But anyway, so area, this is the area in which the game is played, right? This is the perimeter, the outer edge. Okay, so let's look at this. So here's a doghouse. And there's a lot of examples in this of just this picture of area and perimeter. But let's just say we want to know how much space our dog will have inside the doghouse, right? So if you have a tiny dog, you can get a smaller area of a doghouse, right? If you have a larger dog, you don't want to have just a small space in there for him. He's going to be squished. So if we want to know how much area that the dog is going to have, we would need to find the area. If we want how much space the dog would have inside the doghouse, that's area. So we would measure length times width, okay? And we would know that the area is 20 feet, okay? But we could also, but we're going to go over that. But let's say we want to paint the wall, right? And we wanted to do that. We would have to find the area of this side of the wall. So we would do this length and this length and width, okay? Even with the roof, there's length and width. Okay, so here we're talking about the perimeter. So it says, let's say we wanted to paint the trim around the doghouse, something other than white. We would want to add up all of the sides. So picture side A, right? The bottom trim is 5 feet. So the top trim would have to be 5 feet. Remember we talked about that. And then the side, that would be 3 feet. So this side would have to be 3 feet. We'd want to get all of the trim. So we would do 5 plus 5 plus 3 plus 3, right? So we would have 10, 13, and 16. So 16 feet would be the trim. So trim is perimeter. Space is area. Here's another real example. Area, right, is the plot or space you want to put the garden. So we want to know, how much space we're going to have to do our plants, because sometimes it'll say, plant 3 feet apart, or plant, so we want to know how much space we have. So length times width. Okay, so here, length times width. Okay, so 7 feet times 8 feet. So our area would be 56 feet. Okay, that would be the area, the space, the region, the section we can have our garden in. The perimeter is around the garden, the edge of the garden, okay? You may want to put a fence up, right, to keep the little animals out, rocks, bricks, to make a border, right? So you would add all the sides together. So again, remember, be thinking about what you're doing, not just, okay, I got to do something with these numbers, right? If we want to put a fence around to keep the rabbits, and the chipmunks out, right, we want to do the border. So 7 feet plus 8 feet plus 7 feet plus 8 feet, okay? And remember, addition doesn't matter which, section you put it in, which order you put it in, all right? But if you just did 7 plus 8, just because those are the numbers they gave you, then we only have a part of a fence. That's not going to keep nothing out, right? So again, visualize what it is they're asking you to do. What are you doing? You're putting up a fence. Well, you don't want just 2 numbers for the fence, because you'd only get 2 sections of the fence. All right, here's another example. So this is a sandbox. The area is the inside of the sandbox, the space in which you play, okay? So to find the area, right, we'd want to know how much sand we want to put in there, so we might have to find the area for that. Okay, we're looking at our backyard. How much space do we want to take up in our backyard? So how big is the sandbox going to be, right? So that would be the area. So we would say, okay, 6 feet by 6 feet. All right, so that's 36 feet, okay, of space that the kids can play in. But the perimeter is the frame that's around the box, okay? So 6 feet plus 6 feet plus 6 feet plus 6 feet. Okay, that's the perimeter, right? Again, if you just had 6 feet plus 6 feet, your sand would fall out, right? All right, so again, area, area array, you multiply just the 2 sides. Okay, perimeter is all of the sides. Now, in this example, we just did, squares and rectangles. And that's what you're going to deal with area. But perimeter is all of the sides. So if we kind of look at this checkerboard, let's say we're putting in tile, a kitchen, okay? And I want to know how, what the perimeter is going to be. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 square units. And here's 5 square units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? So here they tell me there's 2 square units, okay? And so we would have to add up all the sides. We'd have to add up this side. We'd have to add up this side, this side, this side, this side, and this side, okay? Now, sometimes they're going to give you all of the sides, and all you're going to do is add it up. And sometimes they might do what I've done here and left it blank. But what I tried to do is make a visual for you. So this checkerboard pattern kind of thing is not a square or a rectangle, right? There's this section that's missing. But if we were to visualize this to go here and here, we would have the square, wouldn't we? Right? And so if we know that this side is 4, then this total side must be 4, right? So if this is 2 and we pushed out this, right, what would this have to be? This would have to be 2. So can I write down there? I can't. So 2 would go here, okay? Now, if we looked at this, right, we have this piece and we have this piece. So we could count 1, 2, 3, 4. So this would be 4 square units, right? And if we weren't sure, we know that this whole section has to be 5, right? Because this would make it the square. This is 5, so this whole section has to be 5. So here's the 1 and here's the 4, right? 1 plus 4 equals 5. Just like here, 2 plus this 2 equals the 4. Okay, so we're adding up all of the sides. So really we are adding 4 plus 5, right, plus 4, because here's our 2 and here's our 2, and the 5. Like I said, sometimes they're going to give you all the numbers, sometimes they're going to want you to figure it out. And so all you have to do is think about, okay, well, if this total side would have to be 4, then this total side would have to be 4. And they told me that this was 2, so this has to be 2. Okay, and then here, this is 5. So this whole thing, this piece and this piece would have to be 5, right? And so this is 4 and this is 1. All right, so I hope this was helpful. Just a quick review. Remember, perimeter, you add all of the sides, because if this was a yard and we want to put up a fence, right, we have to make sure that we have all of the sides. If we skip any of it, then our fence doesn't do us any good, right? And area, I like to think area, array. All right, I hope this was helpful. Thank you. See you soon.